Hey guys, it's Josh here, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about the 3 proven steps to end anxiety for good. And if this video is resonating with you, then you are probably someone who has been trying to figure out this anxiety thing for a while. You've probably been to the doctors, the therapists, the psychologists, you've done your own self-analysis, you've done your research, maybe you've read books or listened to podcasts. You've got these weird physical symptoms that no one can explain. You've been to the doctors, maybe you've even got blood tests and checks and things like that, but there's no answers. Everything's come back inconclusive. You may have even started to label yourself with words like anxiety or phobias, like agoraphobia is quite a common one, claustrophobia. There's also depersonalization, dissociation, derealization, all of these words that you attach yourself to try to make some meaning out of the experience that you're having. Now, maybe you've got your shit together in your professional life. You keep it together for work and you keep doing the things that you need to do every day to survive. But when it comes to your personal life, your relationships, your emotions are just out of control. And you've got no idea why. And you feel this deep sense of shame because in your professional life, you might be able to keep it together. Maybe you run a business or you're in a successful career, but in your personal life, it's a different story. Things just seem to be falling apart. So if this resonates with you, then obviously there's a problem. And if you're new to my channel, I want to introduce myself. My name's Josh and I'm a meditation teacher. I struggled with anxiety when I was 17 years old, and I also had a lot of problems with addiction through my 20s. Right? Addiction and anxiety and other mental health issues like depression are very present in my family. And back when I was a teenager, I wanted to figure out a way to get my mind under control because I didn't want to live like that. I didn't want to live with addictions. I didn't want to live with mental health issues. I didn't want to live with a reliance on medication. So I tried to figure out how to get this stuff under control by myself. I thought if I'm such a smart, intelligent human, if we're all meant to be these intelligent creatures, well then surely we can figure out a little bit of anxiety. And so I made it my mission to figure it out. And over the years, I've learned some really interesting things, and I'm going to share them with you in this video. I've also written a blog post to accompany this video, so if you want to read the blog, if you prefer reading over watching, then you can just check out the blog post in the link below. So, before we get into the 3 proven steps, I want to tell you what I've found about anxiety. One of the biggest things that can help you understand anxiety and heal anxiety and really end anxiety is an education about anxiety and an education about yourself, your mind, your body, your nervous system, and how it all works. When you start to understand yourself deeply, it becomes very easy to think logically about your anxiety as opposed to thinking emotionally about your anxiety. Anxiety is basically just a fear response. It's your body responding to some perceived danger. So your nervous system is trained into this reactive state because it's constantly perceiving danger from things that aren't really dangerous. Back in the day, we had this response and it was healthy and it was useful, and it still is actually healthy and useful in some cases now. Anxiety can be a totally normal experience to have, but if it's happening in situations where it doesn't really need to be happening and you know that you're actually safe, there's not a real threat or danger, then that's when it's become a problem. Your nervous system has been conditioned into perceiving danger when there is no danger. So you need to actually train your nervous system or recondition your nervous system back into a feeling of safety. You need to actually train your mind and body to know that you are safe. And if I had to boil it all down to one lesson, that would be it. So how do you do that? Well, let's look a little bit deeper and understand how it actually works. Firstly, you have to understand that your brain sends signals to your nervous system or to your body through your nervous system. Your brain and your nervous system are not disconnected, they're actually part of the same thing. So your brain sends these little electrochemical signals or neurotransmitters through the nervous system to the body, and then those little electrochemical signals and neurotransmitters, they actually create hormones, stress chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline. And when you have a high level of cortisol or a high level of adrenaline in your body, you experience anxiety. You're in this heightened state. This is when you move into that fight or flight mode, right? And you're ready to either fight or you're ready to flight or run away. And in some cases, people just completely freeze and shut down. This is all because you have too much cortisol and adrenaline in your system. The reason why you have that in your system is because you're perceiving danger, and so you're thinking that there's things that are dangerous when they're not. So again, you need to recondition your nervous system, and your nervous system is made up of your body and your brain. Your central nervous system is literally your brain, the spine, and the nervous system comes out through the brain and the spine. So it's not just a body thing, it's not just a mind thing, it's both. You need to train your mind and your body. Having the understanding of how this works is extremely beneficial, because you realize that if I need to train my mind and my body, there's a certain set of habits, routines, and behaviors that I can do to achieve that goal. And then it just becomes a process of actually doing those habits and reconditioning your mind and your body back into a state of safety. Now, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and say this happens overnight, because it doesn't. However, if you want to heal and you want long-term sustainable change, you can absolutely have that. So let's get into the 3 proven steps to end anxiety for good. Now, I call this the mind launch method. Okay? And there's 3 steps. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1 is to regulate. Okay? So to regulate is to regulate the nervous system. And this is implementing a certain set of habits and behaviors that reduce stress and anxiety quickly, that are scientifically proven to reduce stress and anxiety quickly. 3 of these habits are walking, meditation, and journaling, right? So the way that we do this, very simple: walking, meditation, and journaling. These are 3 habits that are scientifically proven to reduce stress and anxiety and help you regulate your nervous system. So you have to make a conscious choice on a daily basis to implement these habits so that you can regulate your nervous system. I've seen people within 30 days completely change their state of being and completely overcome anxiety with just doing this, without doing anything else. And I'm serious when I say that. Some people can just do this first step and overcome their anxiety. But if you have more chronic anxiety, then you probably want to stick around for the next 2 points. So the second point is reprogram. And before I go into that, again, this takes 0 to 30 days, okay? That's month 1. Then month 2, step 2, is reprogram. And this is where we work on changing the negative beliefs or the thoughts that are creating a sense of danger in your body, and we reframe them into positive beliefs and positive thoughts that create a sense of safety in your body. And here's how we do that. Again, 3 simple steps. You use your meditation, and you actually use visualization, so different meditation techniques. Then you use your journaling as well. And finally, we have healing frameworks. So different frameworks that include both meditation and journaling that walk you through a specific process of questions so that you can understand your subconscious mind and actually start to reprogram it. So you're really identifying the negative beliefs like I'm not good enough, I'm broken, I'm worthless, there's something wrong with me, I can't do this, or whatever other negative belief you have in your head that's creating that sense of danger. And once you've got that and identified that first bit, you can create a contrast belief, you can create opposing beliefs to create more balance, which then over time reprogram your mind. And this is generally happening from 0 to 60 days, right? So we start doing that, we start doing both of these together, but this reprogramming, sometimes that can take a little bit longer, right? Because you're really rewiring the neural pathways in your brain, and at the same time, you're regulating your nervous system. So these kind of things are both happening at the same time. This one is more of the body, right? And this one is more of the mind. okay? Again, they work together. It's not one or the other, it's working together. So before I go on to step 3, I'm actually going to give you one of these healing frameworks. And it's called the letting go method, right? This is something that I teach my clients. And one way that you can think about this is like a long sigh, like a ah, right? I've created this acronym, ah, to help you understand this. When you're in the thick of an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you want to use this letting go method, or really any time that you start to feel emotionally triggered or reactive, you want to use the ah method, right? This is going to help you with letting go. First step is to acknowledge, right? So you acknowledge the thing that you're experiencing. So you name it and you label it and say, this is anxiety, this is panic, this is anger, this is frustration. You acknowledge it, you accept it. So most people try to resist their feelings, they try to change them, they try to fight them, and they really end up staying stuck, because what you resist will persist. Instead of trying to fight it, you have to learn to accept it, right? You have to go, you name it, you acknowledge it, and then you accept it. I'm accepting this part of the experience to be here. And then finally, you allow yourself to move on, right? You allow yourself to just carry on. You don't try to fight it, right? You don't try to change it. You don't try to resist it. You acknowledge it, you accept it, and you allow it, and then you move on, right? And you do this over and over again, and this is really part of step 2, reprogram. You do this over and over again, and you end up reprogramming your mind, and then that also feeds up into the regulation of your nervous system, okay? And then finally, step 3 is reset. So you want to reset your life. A lot of the people I talk to, they say to me, I just want to get my life back, right? And you absolutely have to do that. At some point, you've got to stop healing, you've got to stop recovering, and you've got to start living again. You've got to reset your life. So again, we can do this in the first 1 or 2 months, and the reset will happen, it can happen at any point, but between 0 to 90 days, that'll happen, right? Depending on how well you implement this, right? Depending on how well you actually stick to the plan and you stick to the routine and you implement the daily habits consciously. And there is actually one final thing that I wanted to share with you, the secret 4th step that no one talks about, and I'm going to put it here in big letters, right? This is the relapse. Now, no one likes to talk about this because no one wants to address it. But when you are recovering from anxiety, you are likely going to have a relapse at some point. And so again, how quickly you can reset your life is determined by how well you navigate these relapses. Because some people have a relapse and they just feel like, oh, I'm going back to square one, nothing's working. And then they stop doing it and they quit and they give up and they do end up back at square one. However, when you have the relapse, you really need to reframe it as if it's like something that's happening for you. It's kind of like the final boss. And so when you have this relapse, treat it as the final boss. Cool. This is my opportunity. This is my chance to really navigate this, to strengthen myself, to build my resilience, and to continue on, right? It doesn't mean that I'm going back to square one. It's just a natural part of the process, right? When you start to look at the relapse like that, then you're going to develop this ability to be unfuckwithable, right? And so again, all of this can really happen in 3 months. You regulate your nervous system, you implement some habits, right? You reprogram your mind, you start doing some more education, and you start using the healing frameworks that, one of them is down here, letting go method, and then you reset your life. And that can really happen within 90 days. So this is the Mind Launch method. This is the 3 proven steps to end anxiety for good. This is exactly what I've learned over my 15 years of overcoming my own anxiety and other mental health issues. This is exactly the same method that I walk the people through who come and work with me. I've worked with over 300 people now. We have nearly 50 5-star reviews on Google. And yeah, it works. So if you want to learn more about the Mind Launch method, I'll pop a link in the description below. And let's get your life back. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.